Hi, this is Ian Berry. This video is a little bit of a departure from my normal storytelling approach. I wanted to share with you some research that I think you'll find valuable. And it's kind of in the background in my We Need to Talk experience. I invest about 20% of my time in research, and I've done so for 30 years. I'm particularly interested in what's happening on the ground inside workplaces, but I'm also interested in history and what we can learn from it. I'm particularly interested in the period of time between 1450 sort of onwards, the Renaissance period, and all the lessons that we learn, and probably that we're in a new Renaissance period at this time. I'm also very interested in the history of work and what's happened, particularly in areas where we dehumanized people, and how we're on the comeback trail to rehumanizing the workplace. Now, recently, my friend and colleague, Peter Milligan, who's an organisational psychologist, he was born here in Australia, but he's lived with his family in the UK for the past 20 years plus. He put me onto this Ray Dalio video. Now, it's 43 minutes, 42 seconds. I'll put a link in the post that accompanies this video, and it's called The Principles for Dealing with the Changing World. I found it fascinating. One thing that really struck me, it's around the 23-minute mark, is how capitalism, government, and the military are all working together. And I have to tell you, not for good. All three are very industrialized, and they're not helping, in my view, when it comes to ensuring that the workplace and the world in general puts humans first. A great consequence of capitalism, government, and the military collaborating is inequality, and the gap is getting wider. Here in Australia, we've got a fascinating scenario playing out with a federal election soon to be held. And for the first time in quite a while, the Prime Minister and the opposition leader are actually equal as preferred PMs, although none of them get more than 50%. I find this astonishing, given that the government, the incumbent government, they've failed on any measure that you want to look at to represent us citizens. Rather, they represent vested interests. Now, this is a common story around the world, of course. The political system, in my view, is pretty much failing us everywhere. The government here is talking up military spending and expansion, and they've got a hardline rhetoric about China. They've weaponized national security, and it's a tactic to try and differentiate themselves from the alternative government. Very interesting interview by Friendly Joys with former Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd about 10 dirty tactics he predicts that the government will try and use to win the election. And I'll put a link to that podcast as well. Fascinating. One of the dirty tricks he talks about is national security. Another one, of course, is the lie that the Liberal National Coalition are better economic managers, but the facts tell actually a very different story. An excellent book that I've read recently, just to add to this research, is called Regeneration, Ending the Climate Crisis in One Generation, which is a 2021 publication by Paul Hawken. In it, he references a 1953 speech by the then US President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who himself was a five-star general in the past, where he talks about the industrialization of the military, so way back in 1953. Worth noting here, and according to Dalio's research, that America at the time in the 50s had the world's 19th largest army. Very different story today, where they've got 800 military bases in over 80 countries. In the book, Hawkins says the politics industry is not designed or intended to serve voters. Like all industries, it serves itself. I think understanding this is a key to humanizing the world and the workplace. We need to get the fact that in the background, capitalism, government, and the military are all working to serve their own interests, not ours. And I think it's influencing your work, my work, it's influencing all of us, and we need to do something about it. Who are you serving? Your employees, your customers, and your stakeholders, or are you serving your own interests? The best organisations, of course, are service providers to everyone else. Now, in the second season of We Need to Talk, which is coming up in June, our focus is not going to be on capitalism or politics or the military or any other form of industrialisation. Think big pharma, big food, big tech, big health, big religion, just to name a few of the other industrializations. They're all harming us. We're not going to be talking about them, but they will be kind of in the background because they are our challenge. And I don't think we can ignore their influence, because they're in the way, not just of humanising the workplace, they're actually in the way of peace in the world. Now, we will be exploring in season 2 of We Need to Talk a great concept by neuroscientist Andrew Huberman that's referenced in Hawkins' book. Huberman, that is, he upends the idea that beliefs determine what we do or what we can do. Rather, beliefs do not change actions, rather actions change beliefs. I think this is a fascinating concept, and I hope you can join us in season 2, where this will be part of the 4 episodes where we look at how actions change beliefs. I'll put links to the various 4 episodes. There's 2 this year, 2 next year. I hope to see you in the room. I hope to be in the room with you. We'll see you next time.